It's not very often that this show deals with matters of public affairs and political issues. But when there's a social issue that I'm concerned about, it has to be dealt with. Hi, I'm Jimi Hendrix, and this episode is called Choose Life on Empower Your Pattern 2.0. Did you know that there are six? This is Jimi Hendrix, founder of James Hendrix Empowerment. I believe there are success patterns to help you see more, live a better and extraordinary life right now. I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am a success, confidence, and drive coach. And if you come with me, I'll show you these success patterns. Let's go. Okay, this is a lightning rod episode, and normally I would have a sponsor on this one, but what can I say? This is kind of more like a rather lengthy public service announcement. I have been, for some time now, at least about a month, considering how I can approach the subject of abortion and the sanctity of life. Now, I need you to understand a little disclaimer right here, right now. Empower Your Pattern and James Hendrix Empowerment does not endorse any political parties, nor do we publicly declare support for any candidates. And here's the reason why. Because of our reactive culture, I call more people to choose and think for themselves, and then to vote proactively and preactively their conscience. But when it comes to a social issue, I feel like I have to stand out. The powers that be in Washington, D.C., and to some degree I have to say it's both parties across the board, seem to be interested in stamping out some of our key values. And one of those is life. Many of you know that I have my own political show called The James Hendrix Show. And I pour over the news and decide what gets covered, quite frankly, because I'm gonna be as bluntly honest as you can. Our reactive culture is starting to get overwhelming. And so I'm going to try to show my point of being pro-life, but from a little bit less political and less reactive, and more from, a legalese, scientific point of view. Biologists know that life begins at conception. And so, there are some churches that have a sanctity of life deal from womb to tomb. And to be honest with you, I do too. There is the issue of capital punishment, but that's not what this show is about. I'm not here to talk about capital punishment. I'm here to talk about a problem we have, snuffing out the unborn, as well as the right to die among the sick and the elderly. I fear that we are in a serious ethical and moral quandary and quagmire in addressing those. Now, I don't know of any of these, right to die court cases. But when it comes to abortion, I did study Roe v. Wade from my constitutional law textbook, and this is years after I received my bachelor's degree in political science. I looked through the legal rationale behind Supreme Court Justice Harry Blattman's treatise on Roe v. Wade, and I found that it was lacking a legal rationale. It was more of an appeal to what they saw as eco-political philosophies, which really, to tell you the truth, that was the wrong approach. That was the wrong approach to do that. And I'm glad that some states like Texas and I think Kentucky have adopted a fetal heart rate ban on abortions. And you're probably saying to me, why all of a sudden now? We're going through personal and professional development, and now you're getting political? Not totally political, not partisan, okay? I will not go partisan on the air. That's not the purpose of Empower You Pattern. I'm only stating my eco-political view on abortion based on my studies of Roe v. Wade, along with some personal matters. And you guys are just about to die when I tell you what I'm about to tell you. When I was a young kid in high school and college, I supported abortion. And that's because there were times that, there would be these, especially, high school, college, maybe to some extent, junior high, not so much, but maybe more high school and college. The debate of abortion was there. And I didn't see a problem with it. To tell you the truth, my whole political ideology at that time was just wrong. And then I found out something. I won't go into the particulars. Something my grandmother said that's related to family issues. And then I discovered, hey, okay, this is my logic is, when abortion is wrong, because people talk about, with the line and the child, just going to abort the child. It's just a blob of tissue, right? No. That thing is a baby. And when I was told by my grandmother, who was really, at the time, kind of neutral about the issue, she was neither pro-life nor pro-choice. My maternal grandmother was more apolitical. She distrusted the politicians, and to some degree, she distrusted the government system. But what she said caused me to do a double take and think. Because back when I was in college and spouting my crazy reactive views on abortion, I would have friends that say, hey, whoa, Jimmy. Stop. You don't know what you're saying. Let me tell you something. I'm speaking this with conviction right now. I'm up here in the wee hours of the morning talking to you about a subject that I'm very passionate about. A subject that I know is probably going to take away some of my audiences. But one thing I believe in as far as Empower Your Pattern is to speak the truth. And when I began writing what was the beginnings of a book, rough draft of a book called Empower Your Pattern, I remember in the intro I wrote about a song I discovered when I was going through my divorce. And the artist was called Big Tent Revival. And the song was Choose Life. And let me tell you something. That song, when I was going through all this emotional pain and turmoil, that song ministered to me like never before. Because it never really occurred to me that, those that are in the culture of death, they call it choice. But they don't seem like choice, And agency is a key thing as far as I'm concerned. So, listen to that song. And then I'm going to give you a few lyrics. He says, choose life that you might live. The life that he gives you forever. Choose life. Choose that is true from the one that loves you. Your Father in heaven. Let me tell you something. Normally, I don't go on and talk political on this show. Unless there's a social issue. But in many ways, I was inspired, and many of you have probably heard of Seth Godin. And most of the time, his work is more, cross between personal professional development, as well as, occasional on social issue. His cause is the environment, climate change. Now, I'm going to leave that alone because it's not my expertise. I've never studied anything about it. But I do know about the issue of the sanctity of life. I do know about it. I take my strong stance about it. Let me tell you something. You say, well, Jimmy, why are we talking about this now? Why are we talking about sanctity of life issues? Because I think it's time. Okay? And so I know I'm going to tick some people off. I didn't necessarily want to bring this to Empower Your Pattern, but because Spirit constrains me that I do need to talk about it. And I know it doesn't help that it's an election year. But I'm trying to do it in a kind of a dispassionate way to where there isn't so much of the ethereal emotions involved. Because I remember in 1994 when I transferred off to Texas Tech University. Back at the time, I was pro-life. And my best friend, he told me, he said, Jimmy, my family watched this video one night. He said, I can't see. He said, I know you can't see all that well. But, according to what my mother tells me, if you can only see what it does to those poor innocent babies. And the way he described it, and I'm not gonna use emotional appeal. My persuasive when it comes to political issues is a little bit more laid back. Even though I'm very passionate about the issue. Now, also you probably come to hear something about, professional development. I know. But if there is no life, if there is no protection of life, then there is no personal and professional development. Choose life. Let me tell you something. That song positively hit me like a ton of bricks. Because when I was going through my divorce back in